Hello lovely people, thank you for watching my tarot and Timbits video. And I just wanted to explain a little bit why I've decided to call it Tarot and Timbits. If you don't know what Timbits are, they are from the little coffee shop in Canada. There's a little bit in the US too, but it's mainly in Canada and a huge fad here. Everybody here is obsessed with Tim Hortons. But you can go there and you can get these things called Timbits, and basically they're donut holes. But they come in a little box. You can get different amounts. This one's just got 10 in it, and they're just basically donut holes. I was really craving these earlier, so I decided to go for a walk, and I knew that I wanted to do a video later, so I was thinking about what I was gonna say in the video about my tarot, and I was just thinking about the Timbits, obviously, and the new book that I'm reading, teaching me about tarot. It's focusing on, right at the beginning, about symbolism. And so I've really been looking at symbolism in my life and everyday things as I see them. And I'm like, I wonder what kind of symbolism there is in a Timbit. And I really wanted to elaborate on that because I really got so much symbolism out of just a little piece of dough. It was pretty fantastic. So it's basically a donut hole, which comes from a bigger donut. But the special thing about it is that it's not actually cut out of an actual donut. It's, you know, made specifically to be a little ball of dough. It's not from anything else, although it is inspired from that. It is a donut in itself. And I thought that was really cool because I'm making my own path and I'm taking things from other people's journeys. You know, I'm taking from their big donut and I'm starting a little one, and I'm, you know, and I'm starting to grow and learn things about myself. So I thought that that was a really cool thing. So this is going to be tarot and Timbits and a little bit of tea too. So delicious. So I know I've said in the past that I thought that tarot was a little bit daunting, so that's why I kind of started with the oracle cards first and put the tarot on hold for a little bit, just to see how I was doing with the oracle cards. But then I realized lately that there's no reason for me to hold back learning the tarot. I might as well do both and take it at my own pace, right? So that's what I've decided to do. So I ordered a few books and some decks and stuff, so I'm just going to talk about what I'm using in the decks that I have. I'm not going to make this a very long video. I bought a few books, but I'm only going to talk to you about one right now because this is the one I'm reading. I haven't started the other ones yet, but it is Tarot 101 by Kim Huggins. And she is just the way that she's writing, and I've only read the first probably 20 pages or so. I'm on the third lesson right now with the major arcana. Just the way that she's explaining things is just, it's really easy to understand. And it was actually Racine from Almoon513 on YouTube that recommended this book in one of her videos that she had done actually a few years ago, I think. So I thought that I would give it a try. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm learning the major arcana. So let's go into the decks that I have right now and the decks that I'm going to use to learn tarot. Now the first deck that I'm going to share with you guys, I don't think will be any surprise to any of you. It is a version of the Rider-Waite Smith deck. And it took me a little bit to decide on which version of the Rider-Waite that I wanted, because they're all the same to a point, but there are some differences. And I didn't want to get a copy or a knockoff. I wanted to get the actual deck, but the colors in the original deck are a little bit, I know a lot of people say this, but really, really yellow. So I wanted to get something a little bit dulled down. So I ended up getting the Smith-Waite Tarot deck, the Centennial Edition. I just found that the colors in this deck, this version of the deck, were a lot more subtle and easier on the eyes and easier to deal with. So here's the backing of the cards. It's actually quite nice and simple. And I'll just show you a few of the cards. You'll probably be able to tell how the color's a little bit subtler here. And you can see in the yellow there that it's not so bright, and the background colors are a little bit more subtle, like I said. So, and that's the reason why I picked this deck. And the only reason why I wanted any type of Rider-Waite Smith deck is because that's what basically every book talks about and refers to. And I'm not necessarily going to focus on this deck. I just wanted to have it and kind of reference and use it for study, I guess. So the next deck I'm going to show you guys is the deck that I am pretty sure that I'm going to use to learn the tarot for the first little bit, or for using this book anyway. I haven't completely decided. I'm kind of torn between two, but this one for sure I think is the one. I'm gonna just use one and then kind of reference the Rider-Waite as I'm learning. I don't want to broad myself into too many decks right now, although I do have a few, but I'm just gonna focus on learning with one deck and the Rider-Waite for now. So this first deck is the Steampunk Tarot by Barbara Moore. I really, really like this deck. It was on a YouTube channel on a review or something of that nature. So here's the backing. And I really, really enjoy the imagery in this deck. I don't know why, but it really spoke out to me when I looked at it, because I was trying to find something that was, you know, not too dark but not too bright. This really, really held up to that. So I'll show you some of the images here. And I only have one complaint about this deck, and I'll try to find a picture here. The edges around the deck are kind of blacked a little bit, and it's on a majority of the cards. Like, it's just blacked out around the edges, not the border, but actually into the picture. It's fading out, I guess you should say, and it just makes it a little bit hard to see the whole image. But I definitely think that the symbolism and the way that they're depicting the cards is easy to understand in this deck. So that's the reason why I purchased this deck, and I haven't really worked with it too much yet. I've just been reading the book and doing the exercises in the book that Kim Huggins is telling us to do, and they're all optional, of course, and I'm not doing all of them, but I'm just you know, doing the ones that I feel like I could benefit from. So that is the Steampunk Tarot. Alright, so the next two decks I'm going to show you have a little bit of a funny story to them. This next one in particular, Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. Probably about up to 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was not a big vampire fan. I didn't hate them or anything, but I wasn't into the whole vampire movement. And I don't think that's necessarily why I bought the deck, was because I suddenly changed and liked vampires. I think it was just because of the way that the images were portrayed and just the style of the artwork. And I mean, it is a little bit of a darker deck, but I still feel like I could connect with it so well and so easily. So regardless of the whole vampire theme, I still think that I'm going to be able to use this deck a lot. And I'm going to tell you that Racine from Almoon513 has given me a lot of influence on liking this deck, because I'm sure if you watch her channel, you will know that this is her 100% all-time favorite deck. And I followed her, and I take her tips and her encouragement very seriously. So I thought that I would give this deck a try. So honestly, that's why I got this deck, was partially because the images were nice and they were different from anything else that I could find, and also because of Racine's recommendation, because I just love her so much. So that is the Tarot of Vampires. This next deck is actually kind of funny, and it's also the same type of thing as the vampire one. It is the Zombie Tarot, and I don't like zombies, and I don't think that I like zombies any more than I did before. I don't hate them or anything, but all the zombie movies and all of that kind of thing, I don't really connect with that kind of stuff, like all of those TV shows and stuff. But the reason why I bought this deck was because it kind of has a theme based on the 60s and the 70s. It's almost like the Housewives Tarot, if you guys have seen that. I don't have that one yet. I might be getting it because I love that era of time. I just thought that this was so cool in the way that it showed the zombies, and it also depicted that time period. I love shows from that time, and so I just had to get the deck, and it's a really funny. I watched a couple reviews on this deck, and I was like, you know, I don't really think I want this deck. But it just, I don't know all the meanings of the cards and stuff, but the way that other people were relating these images to you know, a traditional deck was just funny, and it's just a lighter deck because of the humor in it. So I really appreciated that. I was very excited to get this one. So those are the only 4 tarot decks that I have right now, and I don't think I'm going to get any more. I'm not as excited. Well, I'm excited about it, but I'm not as ambitious to go and buy a whole bunch of decks like I did with the Oracle decks. I'm more focused on trying to learn the general meanings of each card, and I know each deck has its own different meanings and different themes and stuff, but I still want to learn the general meanings of each card before I, go into other decks, because there are some decks that are interest me, and I'm looking to purchase maybe in the next little bit, but I want to wait until I have a better understanding of tarot as a whole before I go ahead and purchase those decks. I also did want to say that if you were interested in purchasing any of those decks that I just showed you, I wanted to show you the guidebooks that come along with them. Now, the Smith-Waite Tarot deck, the Centennial Edition, it is, your typical book. I think it's US Games. Yeah, it is US Games. So it just comes with a little white book, and I'm honest, I haven't really read it at all, to be honest with you, and I don't really think I'm going to read it. That's what I've gotten all these other books for. But I will tell you that two of the other three have fantastic books that go along with them. The Steampunk it's basically a novel. I mean, it is a great book, and most tarot books that I've seen, most tarot decks that I've seen online, they don't come with a big book, so this is a big bonus. It's got almost 300 pages here. There's spreads and why the person chose this deck and what the images mean to them and stuff like that. I haven't read them yet, but just from reviews that I've seen online before I purchased these decks. But one of the big reasons why I got the Steampunk and the Tarot of Vampires was because of the decks that they came with. So this was a Steampunk one, very large book, and the Tarot of Vampires comes with a book as well, and it's about the same size. It's actually got more pages here, 300 pages, and I'm really excited to read these books. I'm gonna, depending on which deck I'm going to use first to focus on learning, which I think is the Steampunk, but it may be the Vampire one. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens when I get to a lesson where I'm really focusing on the cards in the Tarot 101 book. But I think it's going to be the Steampunk, but we'll see. So whatever deck that I'm going to focus on, I'm definitely going to read at least the introduction, and then once I've got a little bit of card meanings on my own, I'm going to start reading the meanings in the book for that. The Zombie Tarot also comes with a guidebook. It's not a little white book like a lot of the tarot decks come with, but it's not a big book like the ones that I just showed you. It's just a little pamphlet, but I think it's so cool. It's got that like old paper look with the color of the paper there. It just looks really old, and it's got color pictures of all of the cards in there. At the back it gives some fake advertisements about how to stay safe with zombies and stuff, and ads that look like they're from that era, from the 60s and 70s. So I thought that was really cool. So anyways, that is all of the tarot decks that I have and how I'm starting to learn the tarot. I'm going to keep you guys updated and track my progress on the tarot, because I never intended for that to happen so soon, but I'm definitely really, really excited about it. So I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day, guys. See you in the next video.